Trusting God during difficult times, or trusting the spirit, the universe, higher power during difficult times. So I'm going to be sharing because I have received so many emails and people have been responding, jumping into my DMs and really saying, Constance, these are difficult times. I'm afraid. I'm fearful. What if I lose my job? I've had people contact me about being laid off, who work for the federal government, who lost their contracts, people afraid of inflation, of losing their marriage. And so that's what I'm going to be really sharing with you today. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to share with you the wisdom that I have. And I pray that you can extract some nuggets from it. So before I go on, I want to say thank you, Kathleen, all the way from Canada, who shared that powerful testimony. So here we go. So trusting God, and the reason I really wanted to clarify that, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about higher power. I'm talking about the spirit within you. Some people may say the Holy Spirit. Some people may say Jesus. Whatever you believe, trusting something higher, that invisible, powerful force on the inside during difficult times. So let me break it all the way down. Your body, soul, and spirit. So anytime something difficult happens in your life, it's going to impact your body. It's going to impact your soul. What is your soul? Your mind, your emotions, your feelings, all of that. And it's going to impact your spirit. So during difficult times, we really want the spirit to really be dominant in our being rather than being led by just our emotions, our minds, what we can see with our five senses. So the example that I'm going to use, I'm going to be talking to maybe people who are afraid of losing their jobs or have lost their jobs or who have been downsized or afraid of inflation, but it's also for anybody who is in a difficult place. Maybe Valentine's Day just went by you and you felt alone. Anybody who is going through a difficult time. So what does trust mean? I believe it means placing your confidence um, in the hands of, in the power of a higher power, God's spirit, even though it doesn't make sense, even though you can't feel it, touch it, experience this, you already know there is something higher than you. I was talking to somebody and they were saying, well, I don't believe in God. So, well, what do you believe in? Well, I believe in science. Okay. I believe in energy. Okay. Who made that tree? Who made that green grass? So trusting in something higher than yourself and believing that that spirit, that God, that invisible force is out to support, love, and give to you. The Bible says God came that I might have life and have it more abundantly. So I just wanted to lay the groundwork on that. So in life happens. Difficult things happen in our lives. And somebody was on one of my live calls that I had. And she said, Constance, why did God send me a married man? And I said to her, God didn't send you a married man. That person came into your life, but we all have the power to choose. So when people say, why did I attract lack? Why did I attract uh, this sickness. Somebody said to me recently, what did I do to get downsized? This particular person just happened to be one of the employees for the federal government she just got the job, I guess about 6 months ago. And I'm not going to tell you what organization she works in. Such a great person. And, she wasn't involved in politics. And, I said to her, now is a great opportunity for you to choose. And I'm going to talk about the law of attraction in a minute. So, when something difficult happens to you, and I'm going to use the example of being laid off or losing your job or not having a relationship or whatever it is. As a therapist, I think I don't think it's really important to acknowledge and process your emotions. So if you're going through a difficult time right now, we're not going to live that. I want you to allow yourself to feel the full range of your feelings, like sadness. We're afraid of anger, sadness, anger, fear, rather than trying to suppress them. I think this is I don't think this is a crucial first step toward beginning to accept and acknowledge and to begin to be able to take some steps. So if you're in a difficult time now, I don't want you judging yourself. I don't want you saying, well, I got to think positive. I'm afraid. No, I want you to feel your feelings and embrace them. We're not going to live there, but you're going to embrace and acknowledge them. And the real truth is, Rhonda Byrne really talks about this. She talks about embracing negative feelings. And when you embrace them in love and say, okay, God, okay, Spirit, I'm embracing these in love instead of resistance, because what you resist persists. So why are we embracing and acknowledging them? We're doing that because when we do it in love, I love these. This is who I am. This is what I'm feeling. And when we embrace them in love and accept them, because love is the love vibration is the highest vibration, it automatically dissipates or dissolves those feelings quickly. So I know that's totally against what we uh, tell people to do. So you're going to acknowledge and process your emotions. So what might be some of the feelings if you, in fact, are going through a difficult time? Don't be ashamed of anxiety. You might be in shock and disbelief. You might be irritable, angry. Why did this happen to me? Frustrated, resistance. This isn't happening. Sadness, fear. Fear is so big now. Yeah, I'm gonna say this later on, but you better turn the TV off, y'all. Be aware, but you better turn the TV off. You need to stop scrolling on social media. I'm gonna make a powerful point about attention in a minute, but you got to stop scrolling on social media, just looking at all the negativity, a loss of enjoyment, a loss of your routine, a loss of those of you who have been downsized. Your work environment is your family. Some of you spend more time with the people at work than you do your family. The loss of a routine, the loss of your title, the loss of if you're not in a love relationship, just the loss of having someone in your life. Somebody said, even though I asked for the divorce, Constance, and I felt the same way in my marriage. It was so traumatic. It was so the loss of the dream of what I thought it would be. So feel those things. Loss of self-esteem, especially with men, and just shame that this happened to you. I know of someone who was in a certain financial situation, and what happened was the big money stash that they thought they had, because of what's happening globally, they don't have it anymore. Yeah, I know. I believe that one of the main messages that God is really trying to get to us is that God is our source. We've been looking to other channels like our job, people outside of us, our degrees, but God is our unlimited source of supply. And I love what John Randolph said when he said, no person, place, or thing it is your source. So I'm still learning that. And I had to learn that a couple of decades ago when I lost my contract. I was used to a certain lifestyle, used to a certain routine, used to a certain rhythm. Some of you all are used to a certain rhythm in a relationship, in love. Maybe you feel like you've lost control of your body, of your weight, whatever it is. It's the same thing, guys. So when I lost my contract, I was so afraid. I didn't know none of this what I'm teaching you guys. I was so afraid. I felt anxious because it was a lot of money coming in, then it stopped. And I think one of the main things that I had to accept was the the fact that I was always on the road engaging with people and training. I did not know what to do with myself just being at home. So the loss of connection, I understand that. So allow yourself to feel that. Now, I'm going to talk briefly later on at the end, certainly about how you can reinvent yourself, revamp, and I'm going to say reimagine your life. But this is a part of the process. So accept that. And physically, I've heard people say this is how, you know, this kind of difficult times might show up in your life. Maybe fatigue, you sleeping a lot, weight gain, you irritable, headaches, all of that. Because remember, you are body, soul, and spirit. But the thing that we forget sometimes is that you're not alone. And I know it's hard to feel this way. This is a nugget I'm getting ready to give you. Drum roll. You're one with God, one with Source, and one with all there is. And God loves to be with you and is with you in the low places of your life and in your perceived low places and difficult experiences. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but you can never be separate from God. You can never be separate from Source. You can never be separate from wisdom. There's another verse I think in Isaiah that says, I will carry you. It says, fear not. Wow, isn't that comforting? Fear not, children. Fear not. I will carry you. I will help you. I will deliver you. Isn't that wonderful? And I will support you. So, right now, as you're listening to this, you don't have to know how. You are connected with invisible support, invisible supply, invisible wisdom. And all it takes is one word, one insight, one idea, one decision. You're one decision away from your next best life. So I want you to meditate on that. That's powerful. I gotta hurry along. So certainly if you're going through a difficult time, acknowledge that. All right, I did want to cover that. So here I go. Drum roll. But the next thing you got to do is you got to monitor and watch your attention. Wow. You've heard me say wherever attention goes, energy flows. and that whatever has your attention, if your problem has the attention, that's where the energy is going to flow. You create your world with your attention and with your words because your attention is so powerful. Now, your attention is so powerful, and the folks at the Super Bowl knew that. For all my international listeners, the Super Bowl is like the biggest game in the US. I know you guys are into soccer. So they know how powerful your attention is. That's why they paid $8 million for 30 seconds. Because they say, okay, if John Doe looks at this commercial for 30 seconds, I got 20 million John Does that's going to buy this product. So when are you going to learn how powerful your attention is and understand that when you just make a decision that you're going to begin to place your attention on, I'm not alone. I don't know all the answers, but I'm one with God. When you begin to place your attention on, I don't know all the wisdom. I don't know all the answers, but I'm going to think about what's possible. That's how powerful your attention is. Because remember, with your attention, you're creating. And with the law of attraction, y'all, you know that you're always on. You're always creating. So after you acknowledge that you are indeed going through a difficult time, I want you to begin to understand the power of your attention and begin placing your attention on, okay, I'm not alone. The whole universe, all of the light atoms in the universe are moving, will move, is moving to shape my next thought. My next thought has the power to bend and shape reality. Wow. You think about that. You know, that's so powerful. I want you to take a second and think about that, y'all. You know, that's just how powerful you are. And so, okay, it's difficult. We've already acknowledged that, but we also have acknowledged, okay, you can begin to think. If all you can think is, I don't know how, I'm resting in God, I'm trusting the universe, that your next thought can be in reality because we know the law of attraction, what is always working, and wherever you put your attention, like attracts like. And the law of attraction is a dominant universal principle that states that you will attract into your life whatever you focus in on. So whatever you give your what? Energy and attention to is what will come to pass in your life. So we're not downplaying your difficult time. And really, your difficult time could be it's a dark time, but could it be that as you learn how to lean in and trust the spirit and surrender during difficult times, that this dark time could really um, become just one of the best things that ever happened to you? All right. I think you got to get comfortable with not knowing. Oh, we don't like that, do we? We have to embrace uncertainty and not knowing. Maybe sometimes all you know is that God didn't bring me this far to leave me, or if you could remember times in the past where, excuse me, I remember back in the day when I didn't know how something would change. If you could just begin to embrace uncertainty. See, we've been too reliant on ourselves and we've forgotten that we are not separate from God. If you could begin to look for the blessings, okay, I got downsides. Man, this is a great opportunity for me to look at all of the transferable skills which I have forgotten about because I've been on this job so long that I could use in maybe the private sector. We are surrendering, we kind of getting comfortable with not knowing and uncertainty, and we kind of entering into God's rest. And what does that mean? I know God got my back. I know God has my back. I don't know how, but it's rendering um ourselves and our lives. I always say God said he knows the plans that he has for you, plans for good and not for evil. Okay? What's another thing you can do during difficult times? I think talking to positive friends and family to kind of let them know what you're going through. Got to be the right person, y'all. Kind of looking out for any help and support, positive support that you can get from others. And not holding things in. I always say you're only as sick as your secrets, and we don't want to hold all of this in. So, at some point, what we're going to have to do is connect with the God, understand that there's a loving, giving, supporting spirit that has all the answers that wants to help us. It may come through a book, it may come through something on YouTube, it may come through your own intuition. And God has already been to all of your tomorrows. Wow. So that means if you've never been to my house, I can tell you how to come here quickly. So there's a leaning in. Why? Because I've already been to my house 300 times. All right. Another thing that you can remember is God is a present help in time of trouble. Present help, present right now. And all we have is this now moment, everybody. Not the future, not the past, but now. Now. And I always remind myself to remember God's faithfulness. That's what I mentioned earlier, to go back and think about all of the times when you thought you were not going to make it, and look at you now. And for me, and maybe this isn't you, maybe if you can just believe, because what you believe and what you call it is going to be just majorly important. So sometimes I'll just get the Bible or a mantra or some scriptures. I had one client and she said, "Well, I can't believe in the Bible." I said, "Well, do you believe the universe is friendly?" "Yes." "Well, say that. I believe that the universe is friendly." But if you want a scripture, sometimes I will go to God is my refuge and my strength, a very present help in time of trouble. This is a big one. I cast this care over on God and he cares for me. That's awesome. And that I am not going to fear. God said for me not to be disappointed or dismay, for he would strengthen and help me. Okay, the spirit that made the universe, the Milky Way, the solar system is going to help you during these difficult times. So you need to take some time every day. Uh, turn the TV off, turn the TV off, turn the news off, turn social media off. Take some time, I would say 2 to 3 times a day for 5 minutes, and just begin thinking on these things. Oh, I'm so afraid, but guess what? I have all of the wisdom of God on the inside of me. All things are possible. I don't know where my next job is, but all things are possible. And you do that for 5 minutes in the morning, maybe 5 minutes at noon or lunchtime, and 5 minutes in the evening to really redirect your attention and your emotions and your thinking. And so at some point, you're going to begin to think about, okay, what's possible for me? Boy, when you can begin to think that, okay, I've broken up with my marriage, a divorce of 25 years, what's possible with me? And maybe all you can think about is, it's possible for me to heal. One lady said, "Constance, I'm not ready to think about a man yet. But what can you think about? Well, it's possible for me to heal, um, travel the world, focus in on this business that I always wanted, and whatever." Just begin to think impossibilities. Remember the example that I gave you about your attention and just your thinking alone. Remember, your thinking always precedes or comes before your evidence or manifestations. And in fact, if thoughts become things, and we know that unlimited possibilities exist at all times even during difficult times, even during uncertain times, you can begin to choose the possibility by saying, I don't know how, but I believe that abundance is mine. I don't know how, but I believe that I will love again. I don't know how, but I believe that my skills are transferable and a company, an organization would be blessed to have me. So, can you see how just taking that time every single day and placing your attention on 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 whatever possibility you want. You do not have to know how. Let me everybody say that with me. I do not have to know how. When you do that, you literally begin to bend, shape, and mold reality. So you accept, as I said, this is difficult. And then you embrace all of those feelings, like I said in the beginning. And then you understand and you meditate on that you're not alone and that there is a loving, giving, supporting spirit in you, entangled with you, enmeshed with you, one with you in your life. And you begin to put your attention on, to think about, to believe, not knowing how. You can take that to the bank. Things will begin to change for you. Things will begin to change for you. I tell you, it's amazing. So essentially, I want you to just begin to think about I am an unlimited spiritual being with unlimited creative ability. Now, I know some of you might say during difficult times, Constance, it's hard for me to use my imagination, and I get that. Excuse me, but I want you to just to begin to think about what what's possible in your life. Begin to, if you can feel it, wow, it would be so great to work for a company ABC or a company in the private sector. I've never had that experience before. And begin to think about it. Begin to shift and change your perceptions of what is happening. Now that's a choice. You know, God says He's working out everything, everything that's working out for work that's happening in your life would turn out for your highest good. I know right now it don't look like it don't feel it, but if you can perceive, God is for me. You know, Neville Goddard told one of his students, he said, God is on your side. You need to get on your side. And if God be for you, who or what? Can this difficult situation hold you back? Who or what can be against it? You know, I've come through bankruptcy, immensely blessed. I've come through divorce, healed, loving again. I've come through uh, betrayal and friendships, healed, whole, plenty of support around me. And you can do the same. Change your perception. If you just have a little bit of faith, the Bible talks about mustard seed faith, and they say that a mustard seed is so small that you can put it on the head of a needle. So if you ever looked at a needle, how much room is on the head of a needle? Not a lot at all. All you need is that little shift, that little change in your thinking. things going to work out for me. Things going to come out on my behalf. Uh, things will change for me. And just begin to think it. You may not even believe it initially, but if you keep thinking and placing your attention on it, it's a universal law. It has to change. And I just want to remind you, God is behind the scenes. When I think about this, working out, rearranging things, people, and events on your behalf. That's why you cannot be limited by your analytical linear thinking that it has to be 1 + 1 = 2. Because in the spirit, there is no time. So your position, as much as you can, certainly acknowledging 3D, that's everything that's happening, but you're going to spend most of your time in 4D and 5D. Wow, I hope this has helped you and blessed you. Guess what? It helped me. So go back and listen to these principles over and over again. As I said in the beginning, whether you believe in God, I'm not talking about religion, spirituality, whatever gets you in the flow of that higher power, whatever gets, some people say the universe. We all know that it's something higher than us. Whatever connects you with that and makes you aware of that force, that power, that energy is working in your life for you and through you. So, guys, please send me an email and just let me know about all of the wonderful things that are happening in your life and just the miraculous manifestations that will come from just listening to this show and taking the principles and walking it out. I want you to share it with anybody who's going through a difficult time and have them to reach out to me. Email me at constance@fulfillingyourpurpose.com. And as I say, even though you're going through a tough time now, repeat after me, 2025 is my best year ever. Have a great week.